My name is Lane Moore. I'm the principal at Bentley School. Bentley School is a K-12 school, rural central Alberta. We have roughly 370 students. We've got a mix of population. We've got a strong agriculture background. We've got some oil, some acreages, and then we encompass the village of Bentley. We were in a situation where we were in a declining enrollment in our high school. And just because we couldn't provide the same courses and options and some of the things that some of our larger centers can offer. So when we came in, we had to build that culture that we could do everything that everybody else could. And we needed to do it different, but we could do it. And that was the mindset we needed to create, not only in our staff, but in our students and in our community, so that everybody believed that we can do what everybody else can. And we started down that journey about how are we going to answer that question? How are we going to provide the same courses, same structure that some of our larger schools could do? So I guess we had to sit down and look throughout the province. Is this being done somewhere else? We looked at research of other programs, and so we looked at self-directed programs, we looked at online, we looked at traditional, we looked at outreach, and then we said, okay, how can we make that work in our school?
I really like the Hapara system because it's enabled me to take a lot more classes. Like, for example, this semester I'm taking Social 20 and I'm taking Science 10, and they're at the same time. So normally, under the normal system, I wouldn't be able to take those two courses I'd have to have hours of homework. But because of my tutorial time and because of the way Hapara works, is I have access to my Social 10 online, so I can go to Social 20 when I need to, and I can get my lectures from Mr. Hazlitt, but I can also access my Hapara from home and get my work done then.
And I guess that's where we started from, was that we said we wanted our kids to have access to every academic course in our high school, like any of our large schools like Lacombe, Ponoka, or Rimbey. And how did we need to do that? So we could no longer continue to do 5 80-minute classes every day, and because one of two things happened in that case. We would only offer that course as let's say our 30-1 course, where our -2s and our -3 kids, they didn't have access to a teacher, and they were doing just strictly an Alberta distance learning course. And that wasn't fair to them, because those are the kids that needed that direct interaction with teachers. Or we had all 3 of those courses being taught in the same room. And so then the teacher was trying to manage that classroom, trying to offer all those materials to all those kids at one time. And it was just classroom management was an issue. And so what we've done is we've done either the equivalent of 2 80s or 4 40s over a week. And that was directly linked to that course for that student. And then we just rotated them through all those levels, and whether it was math or science. That way then all of our kids had access to a teacher, but then we were then telling our teachers to then post everything online. And at first we didn't say what system they had to use. They could use paper copy, they could use websites, they could use whatever they needed to. And then that's where our district came in, and they introduced us to Hapara and our workspaces. And so I know some of our teachers started to put some there, and then the district went up above and beyond, and they created those courses so that when new teachers came in, they weren't creating all that content, and they had some material that they could start with.
I think that the schedule that we have and the system that we have benefits our relationships with our teachers, because we have kind of a respect and a trust that they can, trust us to go and get our work done, and they respect us enough that treating us like adults, like we can be independent and we can do this on our own, and but it also enables us to know that they have the resources and the information and the knowledge when we do need help. I think it's more personalized to me and better for me, because I can still get the help that I need, but definitely for the courses that I can move ahead in, I'm free to do so.
The work changed in our building. It changed from daily work all the way along to now really intensive upfront planning and preparing and building all that course material up front, and then allowing them to work with students more. So the work just changed. The work was still there, but the upfront energy that our teachers had to put up front to build those courses, to build that content so that it was accessible all the time was tremendous. One of the biggest things that we saw, we were leaking probably 12 to 15 students when they went into our high school from junior high. We were losing them to Lacombe, Rimbey, some of our larger centers, just because we couldn't either provide the academic piece or the option piece. And so once we changed our model, we don't lose kids anymore. And we've actually gone the other way where parents are moving into our district because they hear what type of programming we have. And so we have a number of students, high gymnastics, hockey, that can't physically be in a building full time. And with our system, we're allowed to accommodate their academic needs, but then give them the flexibility to come and go as they need. The other piece is academically. We were always fairly good at meeting that standard, the acceptable standard. But now what we're starting to see is those kids that can work in peer groups and work ahead, and they're having to force to engage themselves and to find the answers, and then take that and now we've got some projects that are going and put that knowledge into application. We're seeing our excellence levels meet or exceed the province.
I've only been in Bentley for about 2 years now, and I came from a very traditional school. And Bentley's actually helped me move ahead and actually do better in classes, because before I would get bored and get fidgety and I couldn't focus all the time. But it also didn't have the flex program, so I was restricted to what I was taught that day. So here I can just move ahead and keep working, and it just helps. During a day with the tutorial time, it's really easy to independently go ahead and work on what you need to get done, specifically what you're behind on or what's due. And if you're done that and you're basically ahead, you can just whatever you want and needs to get done. But with how many classes I have, there's usually always something that I need to work on. So
I think we've been holding them back too long, right? Where some students are going to be able to finish this course a lot quicker and move on to the next course, right? They can actually just go into next year's course, right? Maybe next semester, right? They're able to do those things right away. And then the other's true too. I've noticed that some kids, the box that we usually would fit a course into doesn't really fit them. So we're able to kind of expand that box. They can actually go a little bit, as I'm teaching something else, that doesn't mean that they can't still be doing the course. I can still be helping them throughout an entire year instead of just a semester.
Everybody said, well, you're a small school, you've got limited amount of high school kids, you don't have a big budget, you're not going to make that work. You only have 3 or 4 high school teachers. You can't. And I think with the support of the district, support of your staff and community and students, it's just building that culture that you can do that. So, we've got a number of students that they've already bumped into grade 10, and they kind of did grade 9 and blended in a year. They did 2 years in one, and now they're in grade 10 doing their material. And so they've said to me, well, I'm going to be done early. Well, what am I going to do? And now, I'm only going to be 17 when I'm done. Well, you don't have to be done. You can stay here. We can look at dual credit with some of our colleges and universities. You can really focus on more problems. Maybe you want to expand that newspaper project and it becomes a full-time thing in your last year. It allows us that flexibility to have kids tell us what they want to learn and where do they want to go with it. And then we just support them and give them the background and the tech and the structure, and then we get out of their way.